All right. So, are we ready to start?
Yeah, let's kick it off. I mean,
Okay.
did you want to do an introduction before I
Yeah,
start
yeah,
sharing my slides?
yeah. I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending. This is SeeWing Yee from the Yee Real Estate Network, and today's topic, a investor testimonial. Mr. John Shull, he's going to talk about how to use your self-directed IRA to buy investment properties in the name of the IRA. This topic is something I really want to put together because still so many real estate investors out there are still or reluctant to use their IRAs to invest in real estate for whatever reason. And I hope this presentation will educate and inform you folks out there. This is a still always has been and always will be a very powerful investment methodology using your IRA. So furthermore, you can get some testimonial from an investor who did it himself, from his words, how he did it, the challenges that he overcame, and all that. But so John, can you click the share screen so you can put your PowerPoint on the screen in front of everyone? You could do that at this time. Can you do that?
Yep.
Very good. Very good.
Can you see it?
Yeah. So once again, John Shull, I really appreciate your time to invest to speak about your personal experience buying in Alabama, our network realtor turnkey provider in Alabama, and go over that experience. But using a self-directed IRA to buy investment property is not easy. A lot of people are overwhelmed with the paperwork and or lack of knowledge or for whatever reason. So hopefully this presentation, Mr. John Show will clarify any misunderstanding and to let you know that is very much doable, and you just have to do your homework. You have to be committed. There's a lot of paperwork. I kid you not. So don't be lazy. You got to follow through all the paperwork, follow the instructions, follow the rules, follow the IRS regulation, and you'll be fine. So if real estate investing is easy, everyone can do it. Since so few of you can do it, that's why real estate investing is such a powerful wealth building strategy. Okay, so once again, Mr. John Show, take it away.
Very good. Hey, thank you, Mr. Sewing. Good afternoon. Well, good morning, good evening, whenever you're going to be watching, whoever's watching this video, and whenever you're watching it. I did, Mr. Sewing did ask me to present on this topic, since I did do it. And I feel really good about it. And I just want to share my experience through it. And hopefully at the end of this, you have a little bit more clarity in terms of what all is involved. And it's pretty fun. It's cool. It's a great option. And so here we go. Let me click through my screen here. Okay, here we go. A little bit of background about me before we get started. Just so you know, this is not any legal advice. This is just my experience. Consult your tax attorney and CPA and whoever else. But I'm going to give you some pretty good guidance, and then in terms of some good links also that you can really educate yourself about this process. And Mr. SeeWing, if you have any questions during this about anything I say, please go ahead and stop me so I can clarify anything if needed.
I will. Thank you.
So I've been in the Bay Area native, specifically in Campbell, working professional family with 2 young kids. And I've worked in the environmental health and safety industry for tech companies from the year 2000 all the way till May of 2021. And that includes a lot of consulting and compliance and environmental programs and permitting. And so while I was doing my corporate job, and when I had my son 3 years ago, I thought, how do I pass on this legacy of my life and my income, and how do I create passive income for myself and escape the rat race that we all are, most of us are in? So in 2019, I went to several local real estate investment group meetings and found Mr. SeeWing's. This was pre-pandemic, of course. And, he has network affiliates. He did speak about Buffalo, Niagara Falls, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and Vegas, and also the self-directed IRA. And so as I jumped into this real estate adventure, I started taking some online real estate courses to kind of educate myself with the foundation of real estate principles and practice. And I could not recommend it highly, so useful, the information that I did receive from the online real estate courses that really helped me as I went into the real estate investment groups and whatnot. And it carried me all the way to getting my real estate sales license, which is, I'll talk about that a little bit later. And as of May 2021, I did leave my corporate job, my 9-to-5 job, and joined full-time at Keller Williams, Silicon Valley, as a realtor. So my hobby of investing has now turned into a profession for me. So I find a lot of passion in it. Here's some pictures of my 3-year-old boy on the left, my wife and my 1-year-old daughter, and then a picture of the Campbell Water Tower. I am a Campbell native and I currently live in downtown Campbell. So here's the thing. I had 401k money from a previous employer. Okay. And when I worked at Apple, and then I jumped over to Facebook. And so I had this money sitting in a Fidelity account from Apple. And from all of the information that Mr. SeeWing presented at one of the self-directed IRA meetings, I thought, well, this account is just sitting there. So there's some options. We can roll this money into a self-directed IRA to allow investing in real estate, stocks, gold, and yes, digital currency. And there is a more expansive list that the IRS has that you can read up on. And so Mr. SeeWing's presentations in the past about the self-directed IRA, he's brought in a couple of his network affiliates, and there were two different presenters. There was one from the Entrust Group, Bill Neville, and then the Resure Financial Group with Bernard Reese. And so after kind of listening to each of the different presenters, I'm a do-it-yourselfer, and I was, after listening to Bill's Entrust Group, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's just that the money that you'd roll into the Entrust Group, they would be managing all of the transactions. So if you're a hands-off person and you're okay with paying fees for each transaction for your money that's leaving, like you're writing checks out of the IRA, then you're going to be assessed a fee. And that fee structure is on their website, and you can look that up. The other option with Resure is Bernard will help you through creating an LLC. So with the LLC, you're able to own property in the IRA. So as an individual, you can have the title of a property in your own name, from what I understand. So Bernard talked through a lot of how this works and how he could help. And there's a pretty good video that Mr. SeeWing does with Mr. Reese on the Checkbook self-directed IRA. That the link is here. I know there's a lot of information there, but if you are interested, reach out to Mr. SeeWing. He could send you the link, or you can reach out to me, and I can do that as well. So I decided to go with Mr. Reese. I had a conversation with him, and we talked about kind of my goals, and he kind of outlined the process. So he basically helps with the LLC registration. And obviously you're going to pick the name of the LLC. And like I said, you can't own the IRA property in your own name. Thus, we're creating the LLC to own that title. The one thing is that Mr. Reese prefers to open the LLC in Wyoming. They are like one of, I think, the first LLC states that really has strong laws for LLCs. And however, there's a couple of things. So I did have him register the LLC in Wyoming. You will still need to register after it's formed from Wyoming. You'll have to register the LLC in California if you reside in California, by the mere fact that you're living in California as a primary residence, and even if you're conducting out-of-state transactions, California considers this as doing business. And therefore, you're on the hook for an $800 a year franchise tax board. And then there's an additional form, a statement of information form, which is a $20 filing fee. And then every 2 years, there's an additional filing that you need to update the state with. And so this is a little tricky because a lot of the information is a little hard to find on the state's website. Bernard Mr. Reese can help you with all of this, of course, for a fee. And it depends on how much you want to get into it, right? If like you're a do-it-yourselfer like me and you want to have full understanding of everything and full control of documents and paying the fees, it's doable. The information's there. If not, then if you're busy or you don't feel comfortable doing it, again, Mr. Reese can help you through that.
John, may I say something?
Yep.
Yeah. Before John gets any further, most of our investors, they because they're busy, they don't want to they don't want to take too much responsibility. When they do use the IRA to buy investment real estate, they use a third-party custodian such as mTrust, which is fine because mTrust is a third-party custodian. They're going to do all the paperwork on your behalf. But what John is really doing is he is taking control of his self-directed IRA. He wants to become the custodian. John Shull is the custodian on his LLC Checkbook Control IRA. So I don't want to sound too technical, but I'm sure John will go through the presentation and you're going to have a clear understanding. But you have two ways of doing. At the end of the day, you have two ways of buying real estate through IRA. One is use a third-party custodian, such as mTrust or any other company out there you could use, or you could become your own custodian. You have full responsibility of the IRA, but at the same time, you have a lot of responsibilities and maybe a little bit more risk involved. I hate to say the word risk, but it's all about what you feel comfortable to you. So just keep that in mind. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Oh, that's a great clarification point. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but like for me, I like to understand step by step and want to have control and also reduce the fees in terms of having control over my IRA. Additionally, jumping back here, you will need to register the LLC in the state you're buying the property in. And so because I chose Alabama, they do have a $100 business privilege tax for what this is referred to as a disregarded entity. And super simple, online portal, pay online, you file a little bit of information, nothing really not too difficult at all. So there's a website I'm going to plug. I don't receive anything for it, but it was just a website that I found really helpful. It's called llcuniversity.com, and they provide you an overview of what's required for each state in terms of LLC formations, fees, filings, and then any annual filings due thereafter. So that really helped in terms of me understanding what Alabama would require. So additionally, Mr. Reese is going to assist with providing you a bunch of banks where you're going to be opening up this checking account for the self-directed IRA. And I picked SDIRA Bank based on some conversations I had with another investor in Mr. SeeWing's network, and they were very familiar with the process, and their customer service has been great. So I did end up picking SDIRA. And Mr. Reese helps that initial kickoff with SDIRA and all of the documents that you receive from the formation of your LLC in Wyoming. There's all these documents that you'll receive once it's certified from Mr. Reese. You'll provide that to SDIRA Bank, and then they'll provide you instructions on how to roll your money from your 401k over to the SDIRA Bank or another bank that you pick. So from what I understand, the terminology is SDIRA Bank is the custodian of the account, and then you are the single member of the LLC. So SDIRA Bank is going to be filing the notifications to the IRS annually on your behalf, but they're going to check with you on the end of at the end of the year for the account valuation. And they provide this one number to the IRS, and they check with me before, and they say, okay, John, how much is your value of the house worth plus the money in your account? And this number I provide to them, and then they provide that to the IRS. You make all the investment choices and you have control of the money in the account. Again, ensure you follow all the IRS rules for self-directed IRAs. Additionally, you'll need to have a registered agent in the state where you buy your investment property in. This is required to accept any legal paperwork if needed. This registered agent can be the property manager. In my case, it was. This was Spartan Invest, as some of you are familiar with. They were able to provide me an address. This could be a friend, or you can actually pay for one online. It can't be a PO box address. And then this was a requirement when I was registering my LLC in Alabama. So I talked previously about having to register the LLC in Alabama, and this is one of the things that they ask for. Hey, who's your registered agent? And had no problem with Maureen and the Spartan team providing me their office address. So you've got this fine, just a lot of information. I understand that. So once you get to this point, now what happens? Okay, so the money is in your self-directed IRA account. Congratulations. You can order up the checks. I believe SDIRA gives you some checks for free initially. Mr. Reese says you do not open up a credit card. You don't want to be pulling credit on this account. However, a debit card is going to be okay because you're going to be able to pull money directly to pay any online fees that may come up for registering and whatnot for the account for the property in Alabama. That's what I used. Obviously, you're going to identify the property. In this case, I identified in Alabama a single family residence near a school. So the location was great. I got a home inspection. I reviewed the appraisal to make sure everything worked and lined up. Bought the home insurance. They had a recommendation. Spartan Invest had a recommendation. And then signed the contract documents. The escrow company arranges for a mobile notary. And then you wire the money over to Spartan, over to the escrow agent that Spartan Invest is using. Now, there's a fraud alert. I put a little notation here. Before you wire any money, you may receive emails about wiring instructions. Make sure you're calling the escrow company to verify the bank account and everything on the phone. There's been a lot of fraudulent emails I've heard that have been going out from fake wiring instructions, and so I just want to call that out. Another option is if you can take out a non-recourse loan. I'm not too familiar with that. I know Mr. SeeWing has information about that. In this case, I just bought the whole thing outright and wired the money. Again, ensure you're following all IRS rules in terms of what you're allowed to purchase with your self-directed IRA. You're not allowed to use this as a personal checking account to pay for groceries or bills. This is strictly for the investment property. The title vests in the LLC's name. And then rent payments are distributed from Spartan Invest to my SDIRA bank account monthly, ACH direct deposit, and it works. Additionally, Spartan Invest has a web portal for viewing any property income statements, any repairs that come up, and they check in occasionally and tell you, hey, everything's great with the property. They've been super easy to work with, and they know how to do the LLC purchasing and made things very, very seamless. Again, you'll have to stay on top of any filing due dates for all of the states that you have registrations in. And then the mail that comes for the LLC. So when you do register your LLC with Bernard, when he sets it up for you, you can use their mailing address. Again, the protection of an LLC is that you can kind of isolate yourself from any liability, and the LLC has all of the liability with it. So you don't have to put any personal mailing address on that LLC unless you want to. He'll get any emails to that office address, his mailing address, and then he'll send you the emails via a scanned PDF, and then that you'll certify that you receive them in that email. So you'll get letters from the various agencies, and he'll email them to you when he receives them. So a little bit more specific about my purchase. I did mention Spartan Invest, and I did mention they have experience with dealing with LLC property purchasing. So it's great to be able to do that because things move so much more smoothly when they've done it before. I did identify a single family home in Birmingham, Alabama for $97,000. And as you've heard, their price is the price. There's really no negotiating, and what you see is what you get. And they've done a great job with rehabbing the facility before it was put on the rental market. And it is truly a turnkey investment. I did purchase it when they were finalizing the renovation, and then they put it on the market, the rental market, and then within a week it was rented out. So I didn't really have to worry about, it not being rented out. The demand is strong.
John, I think we lost your video feed. Your audio is still there.
All right, let me stop sharing and then try resharing.
All right. I don't know what happened. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're back. All right.
Okay, cool.
Wow. Okay.
So I had mentioned the single family home. It rents for $835 a month. Spartan Invest signs up the tenant on a 2-year lease, and they take a 9% monthly property management fee. And then my insurance premium is $779 a year. And again, that is paid with my checkbook IRA. That's a fee associated with the real estate investment. So all fees associated with this can be paid from the IRA. That includes that includes the fees for California and any annual fees for the IRA that are due from the state. As I mentioned, it was a true turnkey investment, and it was rented within a week of being on the market. So fees, it's a lot of information here. I know they always say, don't make the slides busy, but this really helped kind of outline for me all of the fees on kind of one page. So this was back in 2019 when I did this with Bernard. He set up the Wyoming LLC. There was an initial $775 service fee. Again, these fees may have increased a bit, due to inflation and whatnot from 2019. And then there was a separate $300 fee for him to help me get set up with SDIRA Bank or whatever other bank that you're going to choose. He'll talk to you a little bit about the LLC structure and setup. He'll walk you through what your level of risk is. And what I mean is that you can actually, if you're going to buy more than one property, you can have an individual LLC set up for each property, and then those properties are under the like a primary LLC that you set up. So Wyoming LLC, then you could branch off for an LLC in each state that you invest in. And I thought, that I think I'm okay. I'm only bought one so far, and so my level of confidence is I'm fine with having one LLC for the property. But he'll talk to you a little bit more about that in depth if you do want to layer it. And then SDIRA Bank, they do have an annual maintenance fee, which is currently $150 a year. The Wyoming annual LLC fee is $52 a year and super inexpensive, and a super simple annual report online. Doesn't take more than 15-20 minutes. And these are all things that Bernard had offered to help with, but I was pretty confident in doing it myself. But he is available, obviously for a fee to assist you with that. And then the California LLC doing business fee, $800 a year. There's an additional $20 filing for a form, statement of information. And then every 2 years there's a filing, which is a $70, which will probably go up, of the Secretary of State filing. And then Alabama has an annual business privilege tax, 100, 150 through their web portal. Super, super easy to pay and super easy to fill out. Again, these are paid from the self-directed IRA. And then the Resure has their LLC fee, just probably for the service to have that mailing address and provide you your scanned emails. So the benefit of being your own single member with the LLC and having this checkbook control of your IRA is that there's no per transaction fee with SDIRA Bing. You can write for each of these fees that I've outlined, you can write the check and there's no individual transaction fee. So you're really, you have control over that. I think that's one of the differences between having Entrust or a third party manage it for you. You would have to ask them to write the checks and cut it to whoever, and then they would do so and then charge you a per transaction fee for doing that. As I mentioned, all these fees should be paid from the checkbook IRA, and Mr. Bernard Reese has confirmed that. Again, if you need help with any of those registrations, Mr. Reese can be able to assist you for that. Again, do not mix any personal or self-directed IRA account funds. Do not write checks for non-IRA related business. So some final thoughts on looking back and what I would do differently. I probably would have not registered the LLC in Wyoming. I probably would have asked Mr. Reese to help me do it for California. That way it cuts out one additional state that I have to pay the fee isn't that much, but just additional paperwork to keep track of. The other option is perhaps only rolling in the necessary funds to cover the property and expenses into the checking account versus rolling in your whole 401k amount. So I still have a lump of money in my self-directed IRA where I could probably buy a second property, but I actually want to do a little bit more diversification and perhaps you can open up a brokerage account, a stock brokerage account with your self-directed IRA. I read through Ameritrade, which is that next bullet point. And then diversification. So I did this as part of having a diverse portfolio. I did invest in some duplexes with Mr. SeeWing 2 years ago. And I've spoke with many of you in the network about the pros and some challenges that I ran into. And additionally, I'm always welcome. I always welcome any questions, or if people need some advice or have some clarifying questions that they need for either those duplexes or the self-directed IRA process. And I'm more than happy to help you guys through this process. I don't receive any kickbacks, just laying that out. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Now that I am a full-time realtor, if you do have, this is my little plug, if you do have any needs for selling or buying in California, or you know somebody, I'll be more than willing to help you, your family, or your friends, or even if you want to move out of state. We, through Keller Williams, we do have offices in other states, and we can help set you up with an out-of-state agent. And with that, it's all I have. Any questions, Mr. SeeWing?
Yeah, John. Really appreciate the time and effort you put together this presentation. I mean, I really value you as an investor, because you've been buying a lot of properties out of state through my network, and I really appreciate your business. And in fact, in terms of live events, you have been to many of our live events in the past few years, and and you welcome people to talk to you during the live events in Santa Clara, and really I appreciate that. I mean, to inspire some newbies out there that want to do this, and they can come to you. But we will have live events coming back to us. We don't know when, maybe toward the end of this year, and I'm sure John will be there to help with anyone to have any questions, about this investing, and he can share with you guys his experience, good and bad, right? And he's not 100% successful all the time. There's a lot of roadblocks and a lot of obstacles, but at the end of the day, the rewards are much greater than the risk. Okay, wow, what's going on here?
I just stopped share so we can see each other.
Yeah, okay, yeah, perfect. So, oh, let me get this thing out. Yeah. Anyway, so John, yeah, I mean, I would love to potentially over time to refer you any of our investors that want to buy a primary home to live in the Bay Area. Maybe we can do a webinar together so you can elaborate more about your realtor business. You help people in the Bay Area. So yeah, so again, so just you know, another great way to network and educate investors out there. I mean, it's all about make a commitment for investors to get educated, to get informed. But at the end of the day, it's all about taking action. You know, if all the knowledge without taking action is really worthless. So John, really appreciate you becoming one of our top member of our network, and given the time you have to help our investors. So, and oh, by the way, really, you know, using a real self-directed IRA, whether you're going to use a third-party custodian or do a checkbook control, yeah, IRA-LLC, either way, is a powerful investment strategy. It's just you're gonna have to put in the work, right? I mean, I know you're doing turnkey properties, you know, what we're promoting, but the power of using IRA to buy investment properties is that your appreciation of your property is gross tax free, and the cash flow and the rental income that you receive is also tax deferred. So, and you don't have to file tax return. You do not have to report this investment property inside your IRA on your federal tax return or state tax return. So, and then hopefully, you know, the idea behind using IRA to buy real estate is that once and you reach age 59 and a half, you could potentially pull out the rental income, the cash flow to, you know, to live out your retirement. Of course, you have to pay taxes at that time. Hopefully your tax bracket will be lower during your retirement, but oftentimes it doesn't really happen. But powerful strategy, and I think a lot of you should. I know a lot of my members, John, have a lot of IRAs, and they just haven't been able to trigger to take action on it. So hopefully, you providing this presentation will trigger some inspiration and permit many of our investors to you know, use their IRA, you know, to buy real estate. So
it's a super powerful tool. I mean, it's so cool to be able to have this money that was just sitting in a 401k. Okay, it's making some money, you know, it's pretty slow. You know, there's a long-term plan. You balance it out depending on what your age is and how aggressive you are, and you rebalance it every year. But being able to buy a property and then just have rental income, it just all of a sudden just boosts it. And it just, it puts it on a fast track. And it's such a powerful tool, being able to have control over that cash. And you know, maybe you don't have, you know, cash for a down payment for an out-of-state property. I mean, but you've got this money from a previous employer that's just sitting there collecting dust, really. I mean, it's just a cool it's a cool tool, and there's so many things to do. You just have to, I mean, like, I don't know, it excites me because I'm, you know, new to the real estate game for, you know, I've been in it for a few years, and I call that new, but it's doable. And if I did it, you know, put the resources are there. You just have to follow the instructions. And Mr. SeeWing has the instructions set up. He's got the people that can help in Alabama or whatever state that you're going to invest in. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, I've been super happy with how the Spartan Invest team has handled the whole transaction, and then just how things have been working. And believe it or not, I don't pay for a CPA. I don't pay for a tax attorney. I'm on TurboTax, and I'm on their live platform, and you have access on the live platform to a CPA anytime you want. And so I'm calling with questions on this, and they're pulling it up right from their tax code, and I'm able to just do my taxes. And people think, oh, gosh, you got 7 duplexes. Are you doing your own taxes? Yeah. Just keep all the paperwork of all the expenses, all the income, and you can save yourself a bunch of money. It's doable.
Well, John, as you are talking, I just thought of something. I know for a fact, once this webinar is going out to my database shortly, when a lot of people are going to watch this webinar replay, and they can be inspired. Not only that, I suspect that some of our investors may want to talk to you. But look, listen, I don't know how you're going to do this. I mean, you're very busy. You have family obligations, you have young children, and you have a career you have to focus on. So I don't want people to bombard you, and maybe you need to charge them a little bit of money for your consultation, perhaps.
Hey, I got my Realtor plug-in, and I don't mind helping people. And a lot of people contact me because you refer them, like, hey, John, he's done this before, call him. And I'll have conversations with people after my kids go to bed. It might be 8:30 at night, but I'm getting it done. And so I really, I think, we all are looking for ways for passive income, right? And, most of you have read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and that inspires you. And you've probably gone to a lot of real estate seminars where, other people are selling you things that, public storage, units and things that sound very complex, but Mr. SeeWing's network is small enough where you can get the individual instructions, and he's there for you through the challenging times and the good times. And I'm speaking from experience. We did run into some challenges with the duplexes when I did initially purchase them, but Mr. SeeWing, he was a partner. He didn't run away. He was there. He was making calls for me, and so basically the trust that he showed me that we developed allowed me to then further stay with the network and continue doing my investing. So I thank you for your being there for me, and I'm here for you. So,
well, John, I mean, those are kind words. I really appreciate you saying that. I mean, the bottom of my heart. I mean, it's just, investors like you and friends like you, and you and I talk a lot, in the past few years. I really appreciate that. That really brings a point that I love doing what I'm doing, because I'm helping people. I'm changing people's lives. I could see, their excitement, that the financial future is going to be better for the future. I'm glad that I'm impacting one investor at a time. And for you to give me this glowing endorsement, really just give me some warm and fuzzy feeling, John. So I really value not only as a client, as an investor, but as a friend. And I also noticed something about you that, your personality, John, is such that you love people, just like I love people. I mean, we all love people. I mean, because, people have a sincere desire to do well for themselves financially, and they need some, little bit of guidance, a little bit of membership, a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of help. I mean, so I don't know what's the purpose of your life, what's your core value. I'm sure it's all good, but for each person you're able to help, whether it's a routine question or, walking through a little bit, spend a little bit more time with them. It just gives, to me, when I do this, it gives me a personal satisfaction. You know what? Wow, I've helped one more person to improve their life. When a person's financial future is improved, then the other aspect of their life improves also, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. It's not about money. Money, is just a part of the equation, but having a secure financial future just allow people to have freedom to do whatever they want without depending on other things. So that's my takeaway. So before I let you go, just give me a 30-second last minute recap. What is your purpose in life?
I'll tell you what. I mean, I kind of said it in the beginning of my slides. I was in tech for 21 years, and I got into real estate investing to pass on as a legacy for my kids and to create passive income. And I got so involved in it, and I was so passionate about it, knowing that it works, and the statistics are amazing for real estate. I mean, that basically you know, some 90% of millionaires are getting their money from real estate. And so my 9-to-5 job really helped. I'm not knocking it. It really helped get me to a different point in life to be able to now take the funds that I've accumulated and pivot and do diversification. And now, look, I'm out of tech now. I left my 9-to-5 job. I mean, there comes to a point where your personal health is more important than the salary that you're making. And if it means making a drastic life decision to be able to follow what you're passionate in, to give you that emotional and physical health and well-being, by all means, it's so worth it. And I left tech in May, and 2 months later, I'm in real estate full time, and I'm gonna make it happen. And because I'm passionate about it, and I think I'm happier because I'm doing something that I enjoy, helping other people, and it's the most important purchase in their life, real estate. And so it's a little bit more than 30 seconds, but I just want to tell people that, people think I'm crazy. I left my job at Facebook making, and all the restricted stock units, and just, you get to a point where, hey, you got to reevaluate where you're going, reevaluate what your life priorities are, and take action. And if I did it, I got my real estate license between the shuttle buses at work and doing it at night, when the kids are asleep. So people say, I've got no time. Believe me, there's time. You're going to the bathroom for, who knows how many minutes? Hey, that's time. You figure it out, you find the open slots, and you make it happen.
Well, John, this is powerful. This is motivational, inspirational. Hey, you ought to be you have another calling. You have another calling, motivational speaker.
We're just getting started.
You have a multi-talent skills, and we value you. Like I said, as an investor, I really appreciate you, and you gonna have an awesome journey to your financial future. And if you inspire one more of our listener, one more of an investor after hearing from you, and inspire them to take action, then it's a win-win situation for all of us. So thank you. This is a journey. We will see you in the future as well. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. John Shull. Thank you everyone for attending. Great. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, bye. Thank you, everybody. Take care.